who wants to tell us about what's going on between Stardock and StarForce?
StarForce and Stardock.
Battle of the network stars.
Force docks.
Gabe Kaplan doing the obstacle course. Jumping through those tires in short shorts. That's what's going on out there today.
Circle gets the square, or is that a different show?
That's totally different, dude.
So copy protection isn't necessarily an infringement upon voters' rights, but seriously, what is going on here, Brad?
Okay, so there's this thing called StarForce that is packaged, it's copy protection, it's packaged with a lot of PC games these days that it's intended to keep you from copying disks, essentially, but some users claim that it interferes with the operation of their PCs, they can't burn CDs, they can't do stuff that they should be able to do with their own hardware,
So basically what happened is this company Stardock released Galactic Civilizations 2, a superb 9.0 on the PC. And this game actually doesn't have any copy protection at all. Unlike most PC games, you don't even have to have the disk in the drive. They have a serial number that they use for you to download updates and stuff like that. So this game has been selling incredibly well, which I find crazy for two reasons. One, it's like this crazy turn-based strategy game that, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, I find that amazing that it's selling this well. I mean, I love playing Civ and these kind of turn-based strategy games, but it's not something that a lot of people can get into.
Right, and it's just really surprising. Kind of came out of nowhere, became a huge seller, and then you have some people that are kind of rallying for the cause of like, see, this game doesn't have any copy protection and it's doing really well. So someone took this to the forums for StarForce, which is the company that makes StarForce.
Oh.
Conveniently enough.
What do you know?
And said, hey, check this out. This game is selling super well and it doesn't have copy protection. You guys, and basically the inferred message was, you guys suck. So
wait, someone posted something like that in a forum?
I know, in a message board, someone posted something inflammatory. I know,
how
it's
rude!
Hard to believe.
I can't believe anyone would do that.
So what kind of forum is that?
Basically getting sucked right into it. One of the moderators on the StarForce forum, one of the StarForce employees, then posted a message with a link to a torrent site that had Galactic Civilizations 2 for download, and said, well, here are thousands of people downloading this game right now. Perhaps if they, and then the inferred message being, perhaps if they had used StarForce, none of this would have happened.
No.
When the reality is that StarForce games are cracked and pirated just as frequently as some of these other games are. So it's not like StarForce is really stopping any real piracy from going on in the first place. But hey, so they basically were big jerks, and they posted a link to pirate a game on their message board, which caused a big stir.
And they have since pulled it down and apologized.
They have, yeah.
Yeah, which is good.
But I think it's totally outrageous that it happened in the first place. They didn't use our copy protection scheme. So here's a way that you can steal their software and teach them a lesson.
Right, exactly.
The whole thing just comes off as petty and grossly unprofessional.
And StarForce really has been really good at being both of those things in the past. They're really notorious about just getting very nasty with people. And it's like a heated issue on both sides. You have a contingent of people that are very happy to boycott StarForce and really are trying to get their message out there that it actually is ruining hardware. They're saying that over time it will actually ruin your DVD writer, your CD writer. Though I have to say, I mean, we've been reviewing games with StarForce in them for quite some time. Haven't had any trouble like
Never
that
had
at
a problem.
all.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't experienced any of those issues, but at the same time, I'm not a big person that burns or CDs or anything like that.
I mean, putting out music and stuff like that, I'm burning CDs all the time for people and, sending them out or whatever.
So that's the big issue.
So,
they say
and
it ruins CD burners?
Then maybe over time it leads to it getting slower and slower to the point where it won't work anymore. I haven't experienced that at all. And I had StarForce drivers installed for a pretty long time.
A lot of people have just had a software conflict where having it installed prevents them from using the drive, and then once they remove StarForce, everything's back to normal.
Because it actually installs a driver.
Yeah.
Like a very low-level driver on your system that goes kind of between your system and your CD drive.
I think maybe that's what's got people so up in arms about StarForce in particular, because it's so invasive. It goes right to the core of your Windows setup and really mucks around with your system stuff, and that's just not cool.
It's super crazy that stuff even exists. I mean, the weird thing is that there are alternative copy protection schemes out there that don't seem to do this. I mean, you have like Safe Disk. You don't really see people having problems with like Safe Disk and Secure ROM and some of these other ones, though they all basically seem to do the same thing, and they all get cracked and released and pirated and stuff. So none of them are bulletproof either.
That's really the big irony of this. All these disk-based copy protections really do is just penalize legitimate users of the software.
Right,
Because-
and on top of that, they paint a big bullseye on the game for hackers and crackers. And saying
which
like,
is
hey,
why-
That's precisely the point that that Brad Wardell over at Stardock made, that the copy protection schemes don't prevent piracy. They just make it a pain for legitimate users to use the software. He makes the point that, you know, if you have Adobe Photoshop, you don't have to have the disk in your drive to use it.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of using the same model for application software for their games. He's a big believer in doing that and making things more convenient for the legitimate users.
The quote goes from Brad here. He says, we simply applied the PC application software model of IP protection to our games, release the game with no CD-based copy protection, and include a unique serial number that they use in order to obtain updates. What we do is take feedback from our customers and release free updates to our games. Since we have a database of every serial number that's been issued, we can control who has access to these updates. By releasing frequent, convenient, free updates, we reward people for buying the game.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, that's a great way to do it. And then, I mean, stuff, you know, with more and more online games these days, you know, it's like Battlefield 2. Was it cracked and released? Yes. Can you, like, play it with everyone else who's playing it? Not particularly easily. So it's like games with, like, a heavy online component do all this server-side checking, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Yet, ironically, as we speak, my Battlefield 2 CD is in my CD-ROM drive because that's the only way you can play the game. You still have to have it in to play
exactly.
the game.
Right. So it's a hassle on all sides. I mean, it's something that I think maybe impacts the people that review a lot of PC games more, because I know I have a stack of like 20 PC discs just sitting near my drive because it's like, well, I got to play this game some more. I got to play this game some more. So I'm always switching discs. If you were sticking to one or two games, it might not be quite as big of a deal.
Yeah.
But it's a hassle.
And we'll see if anything more comes out of this Stardock, StarForce beef.
I think it's pretty much done, but what it did do is it raised the awareness of StarForce, I think, as jerks, basically.
Yeah, Wardell does say, actually, in this interview, we don't plan to pursue the matter. Now that they've taken the link down and apologized, but still, like Jeff said, this brings the whole situation into stark relief for the people that are affected.
And also, again, it is worth pointing out that no one here at GameSpot has had problems with StarForce.
That's right.
And
I haven't had any.
If we do, we'll
issues
report
with
on it, obviously. But
Yeah, definitely.
let's move on to the future. Yeah, like Ubisoft officially dumping StarForce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the wake of a lawsuit being filed, you know, someone tried to do a little class action business against this copy protection technology. Ubisoft has dumped it for their upcoming Heroes of Might and Magic 5.
Crazy.
Getting sued will do that.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, StarForce is a copy protection technology, which means it prevents you from bootlegging the disc and sending copies to your friends and all that stuff. It's not perfect. People do get around it. It's not like they're making games pirate proof. But what they are doing, or you know, what some would have you believe, is that StarForce technology actually inserts a little driver between your system and your CD-ROM drive that actually, over the long term, apparently damages your hardware.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Not
No.
cool, dude.
Totally not cool.
And especially, it supposedly specifically goes after stuff like DVD burners and things like
Yeah,
that.
and
It really
like,
destroys that stuff.
and gets in the way of like burning speeds go way down. Apparently, I haven't really run into any trouble myself playing StarForce games, but you know, it's like seeing these complaints stack up and seeing them stack up from people who are not like really weirdly anti-copy protection. That's when they start to become more believable.
Yeah.
You have real level-headed people out there that are starting to encounter this stuff, and that's I think what really kind of pushed this over the edge.
It seems like this company's been getting in the news a lot for a lot of the wrong reasons. Remember, they had that controversy with the Gal Civ 2,
Right.
Yeah.
where on the message board, a StarForce employee posted a link to a BitTorrent of the game.
Yeah, like
And-
saying like, oh, you can just download it
Thousands of
freely.
people are.
This is
if
what
they had
happens.
StarForce, they
Yeah.
wouldn't have this problem.
Except that people crack StarForce every day.
Yeah.
And they put the stuff on BitTorrent anyway.
Yeah.
Ubisoft was not the first company to officially do this. Aspire Media did. It decided to sever its relationship with StarForce and remove its software from its forthcoming game, Spellforce 2 Shadow Wars. The fact that StarForce sounds like a game does not make this any easier for me to keep track of that story.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. And there is an NES game named StarForce.
Is there?
that Tecmo
There
put
you
out,
go.
I think.
Awesome.
Now, does anyone else besides Ubi really use StarForce anymore?
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of games that I've played recently. Bet on Soldier had StarForce in it. Taito Legends from Sega, Midway Arcade Treasures Deluxe Edition.
Man, I've been trying to
from
steal
Midway.
those for a long time.
I know,
dude.
dude.
Yeah,
All
so
the
there
hits.
are definitely games that are still using this. EA doesn't use it. They use Secure ROM, I believe, which is a different technology that apparently doesn't break your hardware. So that's good.
Is it also made by shady Eastern Europeans or anything like that?
Anything good is, dude.
Man, that's true.
No, I actually don't know who makes it, but yeah, there are multiple schemes out there for protecting games. But I mean, it seems like the best one of these is to make your game online, because if you have an online component that's checking your CD key, then people might be able to bootleg it and play the single player portion. But like Battlefield 2, it's like are that many people playing on like hacked servers and stuff like that, going through all the trouble for that? It's like whatever, they get the best experience just buying Battlefield 2. So more companies should do that.
This story is also another great little like side story to Heroes of Might and Magic 5 we talked about before, when there was that online petition to get the game delayed.
Right.
And now the
I remember
StarForce, and maybe the game will be out soon, and
yeah, which
free of drama.
which I still think was crazy. I think the game would have been delayed without their petition, because release dates are lies all the time.
But
and
the fact
petitions
that
never work.
that it happened coincidentally is going to encourage people and think that their petition actually does something.
And I'm sure there are plenty of petitions about StarForce out there as well. So.
Oh, definitely. There's a whole boycott StarForce movement, out there. So there's a lot of people.
So they all probably think they've won.
A boycott movement.
Yeah, a boycott movement.
A BM.
A BM.